Have you ever caught a glimpse of someone in a crowd who looked exactly like you? Maybe you did a double take, laughed it off, and moved on. But what if it wasn't just a fleeting resemblance? What if you saw your perfect twin, your doppelganger, living a life that isn't yours? Today, we're diving into the strange and unsettling world of doppelgangers, exploring real stories from people who've had these bizarre encounters. So turn down the lights, get comfortable, and let's get into it. The word doppelgänger comes from German, meaning double goer or double walker. In folklore and mythology, seeing your own doppelganger is often seen as a bad omen, a harbinger of misfortune or even death. It's a theme that has fascinated writers for centuries, from Edgar Allan Poe's William Wilson to Dostoevsky's The Double. But these aren't just old tales. In our modern, connected world, stories of doppelganger sightings are more common than you might think, and they are seriously creepy. Let's start with a story from a Reddit user named Santanico. He shared an experience that happened to him when he was a teenager. One evening, he was at home with his mom. She was in her bedroom, and he was in his, just across the hall. He decided to go to the kitchen for a drink. As he walked out of his room, he saw himself, or what looked exactly like himself, walk out of his mom's bedroom and head down the stairs. He described it perfectly. Same height, same build, same shaggy brown hair, wearing the exact same clothes he had on, a gray t-shirt and blue jeans. He was so stunned he couldn't move. He just stood there in the hallway, watching this double of his walk downstairs and out of sight. His first thought was that his mind was playing tricks on him. Maybe he was tired. But then his mom called out from her room, "Honey, did you need something?" He answered, "No, I thought you were downstairs." She replied, "No, I've been in here the whole time. I thought I just saw you walk downstairs." At that moment, a cold dread washed over him. Both he and his mom had seen his doppelganger. They cautiously went downstairs together, but the house was empty. The doors were locked, and there was no sign of anyone. To this day, he has no explanation for what they saw. It wasn't a reflection, it wasn't a case of mistaken identity. It was his exact double in his own home. Imagine the chill of seeing yourself walk past, knowing you're standing still. This story is unsettling because it happened in a familiar, safe space, the home. And it wasn't just one person's sighting. It was corroborated by his mother. This adds a layer of credibility that makes it even more chilling. What was this entity? A ghost? A glitch in the Matrix? A warning? Let's move on to another story, this one from a woman who saw her doppelganger while driving. This comes from a user on a paranormal forum. She was driving home from work late one night, taking her usual route through a quiet suburban neighborhood. As she approached a stop sign, she noticed a woman walking her dog on the sidewalk. Nothing unusual, right? But as her headlights illuminated the figure, her heart skipped a beat. The woman looked exactly like her. Same face, same haircut, even the same distinctive way she held her shoulders. The shock was so intense that she slammed on her brakes. The woman on the sidewalk seemed to notice the car stopping abruptly and looked over. Their eyes met for a brief moment. The woman on the sidewalk had a look of pure confusion, almost as if she was seeing a ghost. And then she quickly looked away and hurried on her path, pulling her dog along. The driver sat in her car for a full minute, her hands trembling on the steering wheel. She thought about getting out, about calling out to this woman, but fear paralyzed her. What would she even say? "Hi, sorry to bother you, but you're me?" She eventually drove home, but the image of her double's face, etched with the same shock she felt, has never left her. She never saw the woman again. This encounter is different. It's a chance meeting between two people who happen to be identical. Modern science would tell us this is statistically possible. With billions of people on the planet, it's not impossible for two unrelated individuals to share strikingly similar facial features. There are even websites and projects dedicated to finding your twin stranger. But the raw, emotional impact of such an encounter is what makes these stories so powerful. The feeling of seeing your own face on a stranger can be deeply disorienting, shaking your sense of individuality and uniqueness to its core. But what if the doppelganger isn't just a look-alike? What if it's something more paranormal? Our next story suggests just that. This account was shared by a man named Mark on a popular podcast. For several months, his friends and family kept mentioning seeing him in places he hadn't been. His best friend called him, annoyed, asking why he'd ignored him at the mall. Mark insisted he was at home all day. His sister mentioned seeing his car parked outside a bar he never goes to. At first, he dismissed it as a series of strange coincidences. Maybe he had a look-alike in town. But things took a darker turn. One day, his girlfriend called him, crying. She said she had just seen him at a coffee shop, sitting with another woman, looking intimately close. She confronted him, but he just stared at her blankly and then walked away without a word. Mark was horrified. He swore to her that he was at a work meeting across town and even had colleagues to prove it. The breaking point came when Mark himself saw his double. He was driving home and saw his own car, the same model, color, even the same small dent on the bumper pulling into his neighbor's driveway. He watched in disbelief as a man who looked identical to him got out of the car and walked into the neighbor's house. Mark parked his car and sprinted over, banging on the door. When his neighbor answered, he looked confused. He said no one else was there. He let Mark search the house, but it was empty. There was no sign of the other car or the other Mark. After that incident, the sightings stopped. Mark never got an explanation. Was it a prank? A case of mass hysteria? Or was there a paranormal entity mimicking him, trying to ruin his life? This type of doppelgänger, the one that actively interacts with the world and seems to have a malicious intent, is the most terrifying. It's not just a passive double. It's an active threat to your identity and your relationships. These stories raise so many questions. Are doppelgängers a psychological phenomenon? A trick of the mind called heutoscopy, where you have a hallucinatory experience of seeing your own body at a distance? Or could they be something more? Some theories propose they could be visitors from a parallel universe, briefly crossing over into our own. Think about it. In an infinite multiverse, there could be infinite versions of you, living slightly different lives. Maybe, just maybe, the walls between these realities sometimes become thin, allowing for a momentary glimpse. Another theory ties doppelgängers to the concept of the fetch or wraith in folklore. These are spectral doubles of a living person, whose appearance is believed to foretell the person's death. One of the most famous historical accounts of this is that of Queen Elizabeth I of England. It is said that shortly before her death in 1603, she told her ladies-in-waiting that she saw her own body lying motionless on her bed, looking pale and withered. Even Abraham Lincoln reportedly had a doppelganger experience. Soon after his election in 1860, he saw a double reflection of himself in a mirror. One image was his normal self, but the other was pale and ghost-like. His wife, Mary Todd Lincoln, interpreted it as a sign that he would be elected to a second term, but would not survive it. As we all know, that's exactly what happened. Whether you believe these are glitches in reality, paranormal omens, or simply cases of mistaken identity, there's no denying the profound psychological impact of these encounters. The idea that another you could be out there is both fascinating and terrifying. It challenges our sense of self. If there's another you, are you still unique? What does it mean for your identity? The stories we've shared today are just the tip of the iceberg. The internet is filled with countless personal accounts of these strange sightings, each one as baffling and chilling as the last. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? Have you ever had a doppelganger experience? Have your friends ever sworn they saw you somewhere you weren't? Share your stories in the comments below. I'd love to read them. And maybe, just maybe, keep an eye out. You never know when you might run into yourself. Thanks for hanging out with me today and exploring this strange phenomenon. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more dives into the mysterious and unexplained. Stay curious, stay safe, and I'll see you in the next one.